Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in. As always, Nick and Theo here. This is the Drafted Up Podcast. Today, we continue on our divisional breakdowns as we dive into the NFC South. Finished up the NFC North. We're pre-recording this one here on Tuesday.
He's giving it all away. I changed clothes.
Did you? I did not. I took off my hat.
Changed shirts.
Pulled a wrestler doing double duty at the Royal Rumble, changing their gear. I should have changed my shirt. Oh well, I took my hat off, so I do look different. As always, you can follow us over on Twitter at @DraftedUp_pod. Like, rate, subscribe, review over on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, wherever you listen or watch the show. We always appreciate it. Obviously, tell your friends, tell anybody. Word of mouth. It's always
word
appreciated.
Word of mouth, baby. That's the way to do it.
As we try to expand the pod here. Not that we don't appreciate the little following we do, because we do this for you guys, but it's always nice to get some more ears on the show, because, it opens up for some more critique, and
indeed,
I take everything with an open mind and appreciate everything you guys say about the show. So, let's dive in. NFC South. Nick, how you feeling about this division?
Not as good as the North or the East, obviously, but I do think that the South has a lot to offer. I think the teams are going to be very competitive with each other, not necessarily with the rest of the NFC per se, but I do think one of them, maybe even two of them, have a chance to be pretty decent.
All right, let's dive in. Last year's division winners, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, first season without Tom Brady. And they win the division, make the playoffs, won a playoff game. They beat the Philadelphia Eagles. Last season, they finished 9-8, currently at plus 320 over on DraftKings, which is second in the division, projected second place finish, with a projected win total of 7.5.
I think they get above that for sure.
I agree. I think
that's actually really low. I think that's low.
Yeah. Last season, they were 18th in passing, 32nd in rushing yards. Baker Mayfield looked great last year. He was top 5 in passing yards, turned it around, and their offensive coordinator left and got a job in this division with the Carolina Panthers. So now they brought in Liam Cohen, who is from the Sean McVay tree. So that's always a good thing. So how are we feeling about the Bucs offense? I think it's really just two guys, and then you could take a flyer on Baker and Chris Godwin.
I agree. I think Godwin has some type of flex option in PPR options for sure. If it's full PPR, Godwin's going to be a good option for a flex. Yeah. He's not going to be a receiver 1 or 2, obviously. But Mike Evans, though, on the other hand.
Mike Williams.
No, Mike Evans is getting drafted at the spot he should have been drafted at last year. He was extremely underrated last year, going in the 8th round. Him and Baker have a really good connection. What Baker's really good at is what Mike Evans is really good at. Baker has a really good arm. He's good at getting the ball downfield. Mike Evans might be the best deep threat ball tracking receiver in football. He's so consistent, dude. Mike Evans is an elite option, and he has been since his rookie year. It's never a flaw. He's always in the receiver 2 category, receiver 1 option as well. So Mike Evans, obviously, you're not getting that deal like you were last year, but he's such a good option in the 3rd, 4th round.
Yeah. So the two things Baker Mayfield is good at, like you said, is chucking the ball downfield and also dumping off to his running back.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Rashad White and Mike Evans are the two guys from the Bucs I'm going to target the most in drafts. There's two guys I actually want on my team. I'll settle for Chris Godwin. Baker's a fine streaming guy. Baker currently, he's going in the 14th, the end of the 14th. He's going as the quarterback 22. I actually think Baker's getting a little disrespected. I have him at 22, so I'm with ADP, but I think the pendulum is swung. Baker should get a little bit of boost. I think he's on par with the guys going ahead of him, being Matt Stafford, Caleb Williams, Geno Smith, Trevor Lawrence. I think Baker could put up the same numbers as those guys.
I agree. I think he's in the same kind of tier if you want to base it off of that. I really would want to put Stafford above that just based off the offensive weapons he has. But the talent that Baker has around him is still really good. White is an amazing running back for what Tampa runs, and they haven't brought in real competition. They did draft Bucky Irving, who I loved coming out of Oregon.
Love Bucky.
Yeah. But I don't know if the NFL looks as Bucky like I look at Bucky. I do think he's going to be fine. I don't think he's going to cut in the White's work at all. So I don't know where White exactly finished last year, but I know he was a PPR god. So
yeah,
I have him right now at running back 13, which I think is kind of low. But I think his ceiling is right around 9-ish. I think he can fall into the running back 1 category, PPR wise.
Yeah, in PPR, Rachaad White is a great get.
He's a lot.
Because he's going to get 90 targets again.
His catch rate per target was also crazy, dude. It was so crazy. I'll quick get that number if you want to quick.
Yeah, so Rachaad White, he's currently going towards the end of the fourth. He's going at 409, and he's going at running back 15. I have him higher.
He finished his RB4 in PPR last year.
Yeah, I have him 13, so a little bit higher than the ADP. Like going into the process, like we were talking, I was like, I don't know, like Rachaad White's going too high. Like he worries me, and like the more I did dress, I'm like, no, like I think Rachaad White's a great value now. Mm-hmm. Like especially in PPR formats, even half PPR, because he's a pure volume guy. Like sure, he may not pass the eye test. He averages under 4 yards a carry. Yeah. The Bucs don't have a great line. They didn't really improve the line at all in the offseason. So like that could happen again. So like, but his volume's going to be there. Baker's going to throw him the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Like this dude had nearly as many catches as many opportunities as Christian McCaffrey last year. He's just an ineffective runner, which could improve. Like I think Rachaad White does have a little juice, even though it doesn't show on tape. But I don't think it's a ton more.
It can't go down. It's not going to go down.
No.
I think his rushing can only go up. But he had 70 targets last year, and he had 64 catches.
Mm-hmm.
So there's only six spread right there. But then it also goes back to
90% success rate.
It also goes back to his rookie year. His rookie year, he had 58 targets, 50 catches. So that's only 8 targets that weren't caught.
Yeah, he's the best at what he does.
Every target he gets is such a good target. Like it's going to be a point. It's a free point every time the ball is in this guy's in his zone.
Yeah, Rachaad White's
walking point.
Yeah, his targets aren't inefficient targets, which we bring up. Like, yeah, a guy can get a ton of targets, but like, how many of them are deemed good targets? Rachaad White's are good targets.
They're great. He almost averaged 8 yards per target last year. That's crazy on catches. Like he's a really elite target out of the backfield.
Yeah, I think, like, I get being worried about him, but, like, if you're just going based off, like, his rushing ability, sure, like, don't draft Rachaad White. But if you're in half PPR and full PPR, like, Rachaad White is a good get. Like, he's the perfect, like, RB2 for your squad.
100%.
Like, I do like Bucky Irving a lot. Like, we were much higher on Bucky. Like, Bucky Irving could be, in my eyes, like, Kyren Williams. Like, a bad tester. Like, ran slow, smaller running back, but, like, is just a good football player.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so, like, there is a world, like, I think if Rachaad White does suck this year, Bucky Irving could cut into that. And then, like, maybe next year, Bucky Irving is the new Kyren Williams, like, just this slower, smaller back who's just a really good football player and ends up being incredibly fantasy productive. That's obviously a big stretch. Like, I'm not saying Bucky Irving is going to be Kyren Williams, but, like, I think that is a possibility down, like, he could be productive. I just don't think Rachaad White's going to be bad enough where Bucky Irving supersedes him.
No, I think his rushing's going to be on par to what it was last year. So if he's getting the 270 attempts rushing that he got last year, he's going to have close to 900. Like, the 900 yards is the floor. So, like, if he can bump his average up just a little bit, he's going to break 1,000 yards. He was short 10 yards. He had 990. He averaged 3.6. He had 6 rushing touchdowns. But then he had almost 600 receiving yards and another 3 through the air touchdown-wise. So, like, as long as the passing game is somewhat close to what it was last year, the rushing's not going to dip at all. So, I think Rachaad White's going to finish decently above his ADP. He's going to get you a good return.
Yeah. Yeah, he's the most controversial name on this team in terms of draft. Like, Mike Evans, super safe. He's super going safe. At 302. He's going as the wide receiver 13. I have him as my wide receiver 12. I was actually in a draft, a big money league draft, And Mike Williams went at the 1-2 turn. He went first pick, second round.
Mike Evans.
Evans. Yeah, I did. Yeah. Mike Evans went first pick, second round. And one of the guys was just like, whoa, Mike Evans. And the retour was just, yeah, man, 1,000 yards every year. He's the safest dude in fantasy football, brother.
I have the wide receiver 11.
He's getting his social security check. Like, sure, Mike Evans is old.
He's exactly old.
Productive. Still productive. It's not like his production has started to tail off.
Yeah.
Like, and this comes from me. I'm a notorious Mike Evans hater.
Just about the same. Like, TJ has never really liked Mike Evans. I'll back Mike Evans every year fantasy wise. I thought last year him going in the 8th was like a legitimate crime. Like, people should have been arrested for letting his ADP fall that low.
That's how I feel about Calvin Ridley this year.
It's a very similar situation, dude. Like, for sure. Even the Will Levis, Baker, what he does to Ridley, they're both really deep threat options. Will Levis throws the ball deep. So it is very similar. But Mike Evans is just, he's a Hall of Famer, dude. Like, it's a lock at this point. He's gone, 10 straight seasons? 1,000 yards?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what we're talking about here.
Yeah. He's making, he makes Baker Mayfield. Like, Baker Mayfield's a good quarterback, but I think Mike Evans is the reason Baker Mayfield still has a job. Chris Godwin, he's going at 6'12", going as wide receiver 35. He's going right around with like Terry McLaurin. I like Chris Godwin.
I would much rather Terry McLaurin, brother.
Yeah. There's minimal touchdown upside with Chris Godwin. Like, the last 2 years, it's been like 2 and 3 each year. Like, he doesn't score. Like, I actually think there's a chance they trade Chris Godwin by the deadline. That's my prediction. My bold prediction is Chris Godwin is traded with the emergence of Jalen McMillan, who, like, I comped to Chris Godwin. Similar styles. And Jalen McMillan won the 3 job. So he's going to be the third receiver on this team. Similar playing style. It's got a little bit more juice. And then Trey Palmer looked good last year. So
he flashed for sure.
I think Chris Godwin becomes disposable, and I think they trade him to a team like maybe the Bucks falter and they're kind of out of the race, and maybe they move Godwin, get some pieces for him, and Chris Godwin gets traded to a team who's like trying to like maybe he goes to Dallas and he becomes the 2 there. Like maybe Brandon Cooks isn't being productive, or he ends up like maybe there's a team who's a surprise, like maybe Washington is a contender and they want to get a second receiver to pair with Terry McLaurin. Maybe they move and try to get Chris Godwin. They're just like, well, we had Jahan Dotson. Imagine we kept him. So like, I think Chris Godwin, like if the Bucks are out of it, I think Chris Godwin could be moved at the deadline. And then Cade Otton's the other guy here. Tight end 21. He's going 16th round. He plays a ton. He's on the field a bunch. Like he was on the field like 98% of the snaps, but he's not really a fantasy relevant guy.
Exactly. He was on the field a ton last year, and look where he finished. He's just not worth it. I have him at my tight end 25, so I have him under his ADP. There's other options I'd rather just take a dart shot at, and he's not one of them. Even Mike Baker's not crazy about tight ends. It is a new offense, so we'll see if the tight end's a little bit more used. But McVay offense, Tyler Higbee's not used too much.
So it's going to be a lot of 3 receiver sets and
exactly. Yeah. So
and then dump offs to Rachaad White. But
yeah.
White and Evans are the 2 guys I want from this offense.
Yeah.
I'd be fine with Godwin, but he's not a guy I'm going to target a bunch. Baker he's a streamer, and Cade Otton's just he exists. Jalen McMillan though, you think he's worth a dart throw at the end?
Not necessarily. I'm really high on Trey Palmer. I've always liked Palmer. I liked him more than McMillan when they were on the team going into this offseason. And McMillan, obviously, he won the job. He won the 3, which I'm very happy for him. But I would rather Palmer. I think he's a more bigger play option. He's like a deep threat kind of guy. But if Godwin does end up getting dipped, the second receiver in this offense is going to be an option. So if it's Godwin or McMillan or even Trey Palmer somehow, the second receiver is worth a rostering in the Bucs offense.
Yeah, I agree. All right, let's move on to the New Orleans Saints.
That's
last
crazy.
season,
they finished second. That's crazy.
They had the same amount of wins as Tampa. Same record.
I know. They were so close, dude.
Plus 400. They're projected to finish 3rd. Same projected win total of 7.5.
That's disrespectful because they have the worst coach in football.
Like, Dennis Allen I hate him.
He's
I've ranted about
being.
Sean Payton. I could do the same thing about Dennis Allen. He's just a worse Sean Payton.
Yeah, see, like, at least Sean Payton's good at what he does. Like, yeah, he's still a piece of shit, but he's an amazing coach. Allen's just he's a dog shit human. He's a dog shit coach. Get this man out of the NFL. Like, he doesn't. It's infuriating that he's a head coach somewhere, dude.
I like Derek Carr, but like Dennis Allen's like the only reason Derek Carr's still a starting quarterback in the NFL. Like Derek Carr will go wherever Dennis Allen goes. I'm out. Like the vibes in New Orleans are not good.
They're bad. Dude. Even like the whole Kendre Miller thing, the way he badmouths Kendre Miller about he can't stay. It's not his fault. He's hurt, dude. He doesn't go out there and purposely get hurt, dude. Like, you're just a scumbag human for saying he needs to be proven. Yeah, we know he needs to prove it. You don't say that to a man's face in an interview, dude. Like, what the fuck kind of head coach are you, dude?
Like, he did it last year when the team wanted to get Jamal Williams a touchdown, and then he was like, no, victory formation, and then Jameis was like, hey guys, let's just do that. And then he was like, Jameis went behind the back, not a sportsman-like guy. Like, shut the fuck up. My bold prediction for the Saints, they finish as the worst team in football this year.
If Dennis Allen's their head coach all season, which I don't think he's going to be, I think he gets the first boot in the NFL. I think he's fired the first coach. He's the first one to get the job. The Saints are going to be bad if he's there. Like, regardless of whatever happens, if he's running this team, they're going to be bad.
So,
but let's talk fantasy option-wise.
Yeah, they've moved on from whoever their offensive coordinator was last year, and they brought in Clint Kubiak, who's also from the Sean McVay tree. So, like, this is the first time we're seeing the Saints without, like, a Sean Payton...
Sean Payton's officially gone off this team. Like, any type of Sean Payton
there's no sort of
officially gone
on this offense from Sean Payton, yet Taysom Hill is
still there,
playing everywhere. There's talks that he might play some defense this year. Like, this dude is
insane. I want those fantasy points, though.
This
what the
dude's
fuck
a
weapon.
About? He is a weapon. We'll just start with it. We'll start at the tight ends. He's going to tight end 19. He's currently being drafted last round of the draft. I know he is a favorite target of yours. Every mock we do, you're usually trying to lead with Taysom Hill. And, hey, I get it. He's worth, like, if you miss out on the tight ends and you really want to punt the position and get real dirty, real gross, just take Taysom Hill with your last pick. And, like, hey, if he doesn't have a good week one, find a new option. Like, Taysom Hill's also a guy who can go get 25 points. Like, he's the backup running back because Kendre Miller can't stay healthy. Jamal Williams is he's washed. And, like, there's, like, Rashid Shaheed's the wide receiver too here, but, like, he's also always banged up. So, like, Taysom Hill could be the second option at the receiver position, third option in the passing game behind Olave and Alvin Kamara.
Yeah, for sure. He had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He had 7 games as a tight end, 10 last year. So that's half of the games, almost, because you're only playing 14, 15 games in fantasy. Almost 50% of the time, Taysom Hill was a tight end 10. Like, he was in the top 12 tight ends. So he's a top tight end 1, and he's going what, 19?
He is currently being drafted as tight end 19, yes.
So, yeah, he's going to have spike weeks where he's nothing. But if you're getting a guy like Hawkinson and you're dipping him to the IR and you need a tight end, take Taysom Hill in the last round. Don't waste a middle pick on another tight end that you don't know how they're going to pan out. You know how Taysom Hill is going to pan out. You know what you're going to get. It's going to be bumpy. But those big weeks, he wins you weeks. There was a point last year, he had 50 points in a game. What tight end gets 50 points in a game, dude? Taysom Hill.
Yep, he's a positionless guy. Like, he can sort of, like, honestly, like, his position should just be flex. Like, you can only play him in your flex spot. But hey, he's got a tight end tag. Take advantage of that because, like, he's gonna have big spike weeks, and it's gonna be an insane ride. Because there's gonna be weeks he gets 0 points because he's not that kind of, if they're down a lot, like, you're usually probably not gonna see Taysom Hill a bunch. But, like, he's the backup running back right now. He's being used as the fullback. He's going to get goal line work. Like, he's good for a touchdown, like, almost any game. And that's where he's going to get you points. Like, I like Juwan Johnson. He's healthy for now.
Finally. He was banged up a little bit.
Yeah, he's always banged up. He finished pretty strong last year. Like, he's not being drafted currently. Like, I think he's also a guy like keep an eye on. Like, there's a chance him and Taysom Hill are both effective in this offense under Clint Kubiak.
Yeah, there's definitely a chance. I would rather just tie my boat to Taysom Hill over Juwan.
Oh yeah,
but
absolutely.
The talent there for Juwan is there for sure.
Yeah, like after week 1, like I'd watch the snap count, see how much Juwan Johnson actually plays, and if he's on the field a bunch with Taysom Hill, he's probably worth throwing some fab bucks at, because like after Chris Olave, in terms of passing game, receivers, tight ends, like there's not a lot there.
Yeah. Like they have Shaheed, but Shaheed's a really good kick return option. He's going to be a lot of special teams. He is going to be the receiver 2, probably.
Derek Carr loves just throwing the ball deep to this guy. Like, he can hit him deep, but like can't hit Chris Olave at all.
That changes. That's going to change this year. The Saints were the least motioned team in football last year. Like the Eagles didn't move people. The Saints legitimately never moved guys around.
Yep.
But
and the Rams system,
the games Olave did end up moving around towards the back end of the year, he finished as like a receiver 1. Like, Olave is an elite motion guy, and they're going to hopefully use him that way now. Get that guy in motion, get him moving around, really have that defense in shambles, and also kick Kamara out there. And I think Kamara is a great PPR option. We'll get to him. But I think Chris Olave is a really good lock in the second round.
Yeah, so Chris Olave, he's going at the back end of the second, going at the 210. He's being drafted as wide receiver 11. We have him as our wide receiver 9.
Yeah.
Rashid Shaheed, he's going at wide receiver 55. He's being drafted at the 11-11. So, people are taking their shot on Rashid Shaheed. We have him.
Which is fine. I want people to take the shot on him for sure.
We have him at 58, so we're pretty close to where he's going. Yeah. I have him in the 60s. I'm just worried about the ankle injury and just the ineffectiveness of Dennis Allen as a coach.
100%.
Like Chris Olave does worry me. Like he's not a sexy pick. Like you want your like second round, first round guys to be like these sexy guys. Like Chris Olave just doesn't like, maybe because his name's just Chris Olave. Like maybe if he had a cooler name. But like I like Chris Olave. I think he's a great NFL player. I just don't like the Saints. Like I like Derek Carr. I liked Derek Carr, but like that dude's cheeks now. Like, I just really, the vibes in New Orleans are just not it for me. That, like, I'm kind of just shying away from anyone that's not Alvin Kamara, because, like, Kamara still somehow is a value where he's being drafted.
Oh, yeah. Kamara was really good last year, and you've seen it with the games. He was suspended last year, I think, right? The first 4 games. I think that was last season. And then when he came back from, like, week 4 to the playoffs, he was an RB1. Like, he's that dude, and he's still that dude somehow. Like, Kamara was an elite fantasy option years ago with Sean Payton, and he had a couple banged up seasons, and he's still that guy. So as long as he's healthy, he's going to be productive in a PPR league.
He's going to volume his way to an incredible 100%. Season. And, like, sure, his yards per catch isn't going to be great. Like, he might have 75 catches and only have, like, 200 yards. But
no, he's going to have more than that.
He's going to have a huge workload.
100%. Especially with, like, the people around him. Like, if Taysom Hill's your backup running back, what are we doing? Like, Jamal Williams is going to get some work. But, like, these guys aren't taking Kamara's workload. Like, he's pretty much set. And Kendre Miller's starting the year on the PUP list, so he's going to be banged up. And Dennis Allen hates that guy.
Yeah. So, Kamara, he's going at the 506. He's going as the running back 17. The 17th running back off the board. We have him as I believe we have him as our RB13. Like,
right after Rashad White. I have him and White. They're almost the same kind of running back.
We actually have him above Rashad White.
I don't know my personal rankings.
Thanks, Merck, for that one, because you and I both have White 13. Yeah, Kamara,
but they're the same
just
kind
like
of guy.
Rashad White. Yep.
Yeah. Their yards per rush isn't gonna blow the top off. It's gonna be around 4-ish. But their PPR options is crazy, dude. And they're good targets. So we're gonna kick it back to the Rashad White thing. The targets Kamara gets they're just really good check down targets. And then you put that guy in the open field. You've seen what he did in college. You've seen it in New Orleans his whole career. He's really, really good when the ball's in his hand in the open field. He makes dudes miss.
Him and White, similar situation. Like they're gross target. Like they're just gross, but like they're voluming their way because like no one's touching their workload. Like Bucky Irving, Kendre Miller, Jamal Williams, they're not going to be like, oh, we got to get these guys the ball. Yeah. And, like, you know, it's sort of like Travis Etienne as well. Like, as much as you want to, like, lighten their workload, those guys right now aren't doing it. And that's where Kamara falls. And Derek Carr, he's not being drafted. He's going at quarterback 28. Like,
Derek Carr's not a fantasy option. Even streaming, it's still not even worth it. You're going to find better options.
Yeah.
Let's take it back to Olave real quick, though. Like, he's almost like Mike Evans. I think he's like really, really safe, and there's no one really around him to really compete for targets. Mm-hmm. Like, Shaheed's there, the tight ends are there, A.T. Perry's there. They drafted Javon Baker.
Dennis Allen hates that guy too.
No, wait, Baker went to New England, right? No, they got bum memes. They got bum memes from Pittsburgh. They got my guy, Pittsburgh guy. So, like, these guys aren't going to touch Olave's targets. And, like, the reports of the way they're using Olave this year, I think they're going to just have to be forced to, like, really get Olave and Kamara the ball to where I think these guys, like, Drake London's going over Chris Olave, correct?
Their ADP is the exact same.
Okay. See, and I would rather Chris Olave. Like, he's more proven.
Olave is wide receiver 11. Drake London is wide receiver 12.
Like, we'll get the London, but I would just, Olave is really, really safe. And if you're getting him in the second, I'm cool with that. And even if you get him in the beginning of the third, that's crazy value, I think.
Yeah. Listen to these names that are on the Saints receiver depth chart.
They're bad, dude. Like, you could probably name fake people in here, and I don't think I would be able to get them.
So you got Rashid Shaheed, who tons of upside, but he's not a target guy. Like, he's going to do a lot.
Big play kind of guy.
A.T. Perry, who Dennis Allen hates, huge body.
6'6", dude. He's huge.
Bub Means,
Dog.
Cedric Wilson Jr.,
I didn't know that got a job.
Tipton. That's it. Those are the 6 receivers on this roster.
Yeah, so you got Chris Olave. So, but yeah, like, he's like a really big play kind of guy. I don't think he's gonna take away targets. He's not that kind of receiver.
No.
So, like, I think Olave's targets are just really, really safe this year.
There's a good chance Chris Olave leads the league in targets.
That's Garrett Wilson's job. That's Garrett Wilson's job. That's the target king, baby.
Yeah, but he's going to have effective targets. They're going to be good targets, so he might not get as much.
That is true.
Whereas Derek Carr, the Saints are just going to always be passing the ball because they're going to be losing every game because they're terrible. So? Yeah. Oh,
Dennis Allen doesn't know the rules of football. We're down 30. Let's just run it. Let's just run it with Taysom Hill.
Yeah, like Chris Olave and Alvin Kamara, like, it's just like the Bucs, but similar. Like, Olave, super safe receiver, just like Mike Evans. Rashad White, Alvin Kamara, great PPR options, not necessarily effective backs, but great volume to the point. And then Taysom Hill. I'll take the upside on Taysom Hill.
100%.
And that's it on this team.
You said they're just like the Bucs. It's a receiver, a running back, and a streaming quarterback. The streaming quarterback's Taysom Hill. So fuck Derek Carr.
Right. Let's move on to the sexy team of the division. Big off season, the Atlanta Falcons. They finished 7-10. They are minus 130, projected to finish first in the division. 9.5 projected wins. They were 22nd in the league in passing last year, 9th in rushing. Arthur Smith out the door. Raheem Morris, now the head coach of the Falcons, and he brought over Zach Robinson from the Rams.
Yes, sir.
So Zach Robinson never been a play caller before. I'm trying to pump the brakes on the Falcons. Like, everyone's hyping them up, and, like, I feel like everyone on this team, you're almost drafting them at their ceiling at this point.
You are,
and I don't like that.
Except Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, Kirk Cousins.
The one guy,
Darnell Mooney, probably.
Well, yeah, like, the reason you're drafting the Falcons at their ceiling is because of Kirk Cousins, and no one's drafting that guy at anywhere near his ceiling.
No,
it's funny how that all works out.
Yeah, Kirk Cousins, he's going as quarterback 19 right now, mid 12th round pick. I love Kirk. Like, I have him at
the
17,
value of Kirk is so dope, dude. It's so good.
We brought up during the NFC East, Jaden Daniels. I love pairing him with, like, a pocket quarterback, whether it be Jared Goff, Brock Purdy, Tua. Like, if I miss out on those guys, I'll gladly pair Jaden Daniels with Kirk Cousins.
100%. Like, his numbers in the games that he played last year, like, the way he was projecting, he was like a top 2 quarterback, like, fantasy wise. Like, his numbers were blowing people out of the water. Like, he was crazy productive last year. And then, unfortunately, he got hurt.
Yeah.
So if it's any bit like that, and the way Atlanta has stacked their offense, it almost falls into the way Minnesota was. Like, he has his elite alpha number one in Drake London. He's got Kyle Pitts, which is TJ Hawkinson. And then he's got Bijan, dude, which is no one on Minnesota. He's got Bijan fucking Robinson in the backfield, dude.
And that comparison even moves over to Darnell Mooney, who's a similar play style to Jordan
Addison. 100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who is getting very slept on this year.
Yeah. So, like, if all these guys hit, Kirk Cousins has to hit.
Exactly. And that's why I don't understand how the fantasy world is like let's push all of these guys, but not the quarterback.
Like, Kirk Cousins doesn't run, so you're not getting any rushing upside with him, and he's obviously coming off the Achilles injury. So, like, I get pumping the brakes on Kirk Cousins, but, like, if Kirk Cousins is bad, these guys aren't going to be good. So, like, I'm iffy on, like, I have Drake London lower than his ADP. Like, he's going as wide receiver 12. You and I both have him at 15.
I've actually took a huge bump on Drake London. I have him at 21.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah. So it's a huge bump. Drake London scares the hell out of me this year.
But Kyle Pitts doesn't. I know you're in on Kyle Pitts.
That's kind of why Drake London scares the hell out of me. I think Kyle Pitts is going to be used more in the number 2 role than Darnell Mooney. And then I think Kyle Pitts is going to really be an option for Kirk Cousins. I think both guys are. I think Kyle Pitts and Drake London are going to have very close statistical seasons, and that's why I had to push him back a little bit. I still think he's going to have a really good year. I think both guys are going to have 1,000 yards, but there are guys that I would rather take that I think are safer than Drake London.
Yeah, Pitts is going tight end 7. He's going 605. Like, I feel Kyle Pitts, that's just his range. I feel that's where he was going last year. That's where he's going this year. Before that, he obviously was going like the second or third after that 1,000-yard rookie season.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, Kyle Pitts is an enigma. Like, I don't know, like, where he's going. Like, there's so much risk involved with him, and like, he worries me. Where, like, I'm not willing to take that shot on him, but, like, also, it wouldn't surprise me if he ends up just like hitting. Like, Kyle Pitts' range, his spectrum is the world. He could be tight end 1. He could also be tight end 30.
You said it perfectly. And I'm not often taking chances on players like this, but there aren't many guys like Kyle Pitts. Like, when he came out of college from Florida, there aren't many tight ends that I've ever been like, yo, this is the dude. Like, he's this guy. And nothing's really changed. Like, his rookie season, he had 1,000 yards. And then he got a little banged up, and you've seen it. He kind of ran a little bit slow. He couldn't break out of his routes. He's coming off a full. He's healthy. And now you give him the first ever time in his career, a legitimate quarterback. And mind you this, who loves throwing to his tight end. Like, the connection Hawkinson and Kirk had last season was, like, special, dude. Like, Hawkinson's numbers were projected through the roof.
Even when we traded for Hawkinson midseason, Kirk was immediately targeting him.
Right off the bat, like, instantly. Yeah. Like, you gave this dude a tight end, and he's like, yo, this guy's amazing. Kyle Pitts he's more athletic than TJ Hawkinson.
He is. TJ Hawkinson he's a work in the middle of the field. You're not going to throw a lob down to TJ Hawkinson. You can do that with Kyle Pitts. I get it.
Just believe. If you ever believed in Kyle Pitts, just get back on. Like, this is the year. If we're ever gonna buy into Pitts, this has to be the year.
I do believe in Kyle Pitts. I would rather draft George Kittle or Evan Ingram in that range than Kyle.
Those guys are way safer, but I don't think either of them could be tight end 1. I think Kyle Pitts has that in him with Kirk Cousins.
I think PPR. I think Evan Ingram could PPR his way to tight end 1. Yeah,
because he's gonna have 115 catches.
Hey,
it's a
George
cheap
Kittle,
way to get.
George Kittle had 1,000 yards last year. No tight end did except him.
Yeah, I get it, but he wasn't tight end 1.
Yeah, no.
I think Kyle Pitts could have like 1,400 yards, dude. I think he could have receiver type of numbers.
We'll see. I am out on Pitts and London based off their ADP.
100%. If you want to be out on I'm not going to tell someone to go out and draft Kyle Pitts, but like if you want a tight end that can really somehow win you a league around this spot, Kyle Pitts can be that guy. But he can also be the guy that you just wasted a 6th round pick on.
Yeah.
And now you have to stream the tight end position because you drafted Kyle Pitts.
If you want the wild ride, take Kyle Pitts. Bijan Robinson.
Mister, I'm drafting Marvin the first because I want the fun experience. I think Kyle Pitts is right there, baby.
No, Kyle Pitts isn't fun though. Like I don't think Marvin Harrison. I don't think, but I don't think Marvin Harrison can dud like Kyle Pitts could dud.
Oh no, I agree.
Like
but
I think
off his rookie year. Yeah. Kyle Pitts was amazing, dude. Like 1,000 yards.
That was 3 years ago.
Yeah, and he probably hasn't quarterback
and he probably hasn't had 1,000 yards since then total.
He hasn't. It's very close.
Like, I don't know. Like, maybe we have to start thinking like the Kyle Pitts. The last 2 years is more what Kyle Pitts is.
Nope. And like, I've seen it in college. I've seen it his rookie year. Oh, I'm in, baby. Now hear me out. If he shits the bed this year, then I will eat my words and say Kyle Pitts is this kind of tight end. He will not be in the top 12 of my rankings if he shits the bed.
Like 50 for 667 those are fine numbers.
Yeah,
he just lacks touchdowns. 3. Like he could do 50 for 667 and have 6 touchdowns this year, and that'd be a good year.
I think that's his floor. I think 600 yards is his floor, dude. I think with Kirk Cousins, I think he's going to be the number 2 option in the passing game. Kirk loves his tight ends.
Yeah. But what if Kirk isn't healthy? Like, we have to worry about that. We don't know. We haven't seen him at all. Like, there's a realm where Kirk Cousins doesn't recover from this Achilles injury.
I mean, I think Atlanta would come out and say that dog needs to shut the fuck up, though, dude.
But like that's like I think there's a chance Michael Penix could play week 1.
I think Atlanta would have been saying something about that. At this point, we're literally a week away from the NFL.
Coaches are dumb. Competitive advantage, that stupid bullshit. Pittsburgh, I'm not naming a quarterback yet till the work week's over.
It's Russell Wilson.
But like Bijan Robinson, we haven't even talked about him. He's being drafted at the 106 RB3. Yeah, do it.
Yeah,
Bijan, superstar in the making. Like I think he's the guy I'm pushing my chips in for Atlanta. Like I think he's going to be the biggest beneficiary of all this. Like I like Tyler Algier. I think Tyler Algier is a good NFL running back. I honestly hope he doesn't touch the ball at all.
1,000 yards the rookie year. No, I think they're going to use him more than people want, obviously, because you're taking Bijan at RB3. But I think Tyler Algier is a really good running back. He had 1,000 yards his rookie season.
Yeah, Bijan Robinson didn't do that.
Exactly. So I think he's going to be used more.
Yeah.
But it's not going to... Bijan's going to be that dude.
Yeah.
Like, he was drafted to be that guy. They're going to use him to be that guy. And then Kirk opens up the passing. So I think Bijan's rushing is going to only improve.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Algier, he's going in the 13th round, RB47. I mean, I guess like if you run a 0 RB approach and you're just kind of taking handcuff guys, like trying to just find like a running back who could like just get dirty work.
Yeah,
that could be Tyler Algier. And if Bijan goes down, Tyler Algier becomes a top 20 option at that point.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, if you want to play off the injury and try to bank on, well, if this guy goes down, then that guy's going to be worth using. Algier's the guy to kind of look at if you want to play that way. I personally do not. I'm not going to try to predict injuries because that's a dart throw in the dark. It's not a good idea. But Algier's work is going to be okay. But it's a guy to look at like week 1. Like see the percentage of snaps. How much is he on the field compared to Bijan? And then take it from there. Like, I'm not comfortable taking him just based off of Bijan's there.
Mm-hmm.
But it wouldn't surprise me if he comes out and has almost 10 carries week 1 and Bijan has like 15 because they're trying to use both of these guys.
Yeah. And also, like, if Kirk Cousins isn't fully there, they're going to rely on the run game. So
that is true.
Utilize both those dudes. I actually like Darnell Mooney this year. He's going as wide receiver 65. 14th round, Kirk Cousins like requested that they sign this dude. So like Kirk Cousins wants him there. And Kirk Cousins loves chucking the ball down the field, and that's Darnell Mooney, especially. Like, Darnell Mooney had 1,000 yards a few years ago in Chicago. Let's not forget that.
Yeah.
And then he got Justin Fields, and Justin Fields couldn't hit this dude. Like,
well, Justin Fields can't hit the side of a brick house. So what are we talking about?
He's going at wide receiver 65. I have him as my 51st receiver. Like, I'm in on taking that dart. Like, I think Darnell Mooney is a good like shot. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if he comes out week 1, he has 100 yards or has a big like 60-yard touchdown catch and finishes like 2 for 85 and a touchdown, which is going to be, big numbers. Like, and if he doesn't, okay, I have a guy I can cut. But
the comparison to Addison is very, very good. Like, Addison was a first-round pick, and he's a big play kind of guy. He's not going to eat up targets, but that's what Drake London's there for. He's going to be the target guy, to where that gives Mooney the opportunity to run the field. And it only takes one big play. Like, Kirk has to just hit him on one play. And you've seen it with Addison a bunch. Like, he had 9-10 touchdowns his rookie year. And a lot of them were just on crazy big plays. So it wouldn't surprise me if Darnell Mooney has a very similar year where it's like 800, 900 yards, but the touchdowns are all there.
Darnell Mooney to me is like a better Rashid Shaheed.
100%. I think he's a way more talented receiver than Shaheed.
Like, Shaheed's going ahead of him, 10 spots ahead of him, but I'd rather take Mooney because I'd rather bank my guy with Kirk Cousins than bank on a guy with Derek Carr.
I would almost be willing to say that Mooney out targets him, receptions him, touchdowns him. The yards will be close because he's a really big play kind of guy where he can have 40 catches and a crazy amount of yards. But I think Mooney's going to outproduce Shaheed across the board almost every spot. So for him to be going, what you said, 10 picks
10
later,
spots lower,
I think that's great value.
Yeah, a 3-round difference. Shaheed's going in the
crazy.
Back of the 11th, and Darnell Mooney's going in the 14th.
Yeah, I would honestly be fine taking Mooney in that round if you want to take him earlier, just because. Like, sure, you can wait on him, but like I think the production's going to be there.
Yeah. My bold prediction for the Falcons is they finish with a losing record.
Whoa.
Yeah.
They have like a crazy easy schedule too, dude. That's like a hot take.
Yeah.
I think they have like the 3rd easiest schedule in football or something like that.
I think there's a road where like Bijan could be a disappointment in fantasy because you're drafting him so high. Like, he could end up finishing as like RB6 or 7. And
coming from Theo.
Yeah. And
I've never heard this guy say a bad thing about Bijan Robinson a day in his life.
I mean, you're drafting him almost at his ceiling, drafting him at 6 overall, running back 3. Like, I get it, but like, I don't think you'd be too upset if he finished as the RB6. But like, that's not great for like what he was drafted to be in real life. Like, he was a top 10 pick.
Oh yeah,
like,
I get it.
I think there's a world where like Drake London, Kyle Pitts, Bijan Robinson are all lower than where they're being drafted.
As a team, as a fan of a team that drafted Barkley as a top 2 pick, Evan Ingram in the 1st round, and these guys just kind of never lived up. Like, Barkley's amazing, but really look back at it, did he ever live up to the 2nd pick of the draft? No. Like, he's good, but he's not that good. So and that's a real possibility that just Pitts, Barkley, Drake London. Drake London's never had 1,000 yards. So for us to, we want to try to predict what it can be and try to push him into that Justin Jefferson role. He's not Justin Jefferson.
He's not Justin Jefferson.
Justin Jefferson is an elite of the elite receivers, and there's a reason he's the highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history.
I do think Drake London will have 1,000 yards this year.
He will.
I think that's 100%.
100%. But is he going to have the Justin Jefferson 1,700 yards, 12 touchdowns, all these big plays? I don't think that's going to happen. I think Drake London could, though, put up 10 touchdowns and 1,300, like a really good productive season, but it's not going to be Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, but that's what I'm kind of out on Atlanta this year. I think next year they'll be better. I think a year Kirk getting healthy and a year with the system and the guys, I think Atlanta in 2025 is a better
I'm in on everyone except Drake London. I think Drake London's going a little bit too high. If I can get him a round or 2 later, just maybe even a round, I'd take him in the 3rd. I'd be cool with that. Like, around guys like Tank Dell, Amari Cooper, George Pickens, T. Higgins. Like, T. Higgins could very easily outproduce him across the board, and he's going a whole round before.
Yeah. So last week we did do a draft, and I drafted Drake London at the 2-3 turn. I drafted him in the first pick of the third round, but like with the first pick, I took Tyreek Hill. The reason I gave Tyreek the edge over CMC is because you start 3 receivers in that league. So Drake London is my receiver 2 behind Tyreek Hill. Like,
I'm cool with that.
If you can do that, P, like, I don't want Drake London to be my receiver 1.
No. I don't think he's proven yet to be a 1. But in a world where I can get him as my 2, because that's where I have him. Like, I have him at 21 right now. I think he'll probably end up moving a spot or 2 up. So I have him as a wide receiver 2. So if I can get him as a wide receiver 2, I'd love that, because his ceiling is closer to 13, 12, but his floor is unfortunately really, really low compared to all these other guys in between him.
Yeah. All right, final team in the division.
No.
2-15 last year, plus 1,100 odds to win the division. Better than the New York Giants. Projected 4th, though. That would be the Carolina Panthers, but the projected win total of 5.5. New head coach Dave Canales is there. Dave Canales, quarterback whisperer. He did it with Geno last year with Baker. Now he has Bryce Young, and Bryce Young's looked all right.
Dude, they have him moving out of the pocket. They don't have him just standing there trying to be a pocket quarterback. But that's
Which
not
is
what he
great,
does,
because
dude.
Bryce Young can't see over the line. So you gotta move him.
They do have him rolling out more, and he's really accurate on the run. He's seen it in Alabama. So I think it's not crazy, obviously, because he was the first pick of the draft. But Bryce Young is going to be way more productive than he was last year.
Yeah,
Carolina's just going to be way more productive than they were last year, I think.
Yeah, Bryce Young not being drafted, but he's going at quarterback 26 over Derek Carr, which I would take him over Derek Carr. Like I think
100%, dude.
I think Bryce Young's going to fall into the streaming option this year. I think he's going to be a guy you can actually play in fantasy if your quarterback's on a bye.
I mean, they went out and they got him a really good receiver in the draft. They went out and got him a really good receiver from Deontay Johnson.
And he has good chemistry with Adam Thielen.
The chemistry with Thielen is crazy. Like, Thielen last year was on a crazy tear. Unfortunately, Adam Thielen's 62 years old and he's about to retire. So, like, legitimately retire from, like, life, not the NFL, life. He's going to retire from life. So, that's going to come to an end.
His life?
Yeah, he's old, TJ. He's really old. He's used
Nick's bold prediction. Adam Thielen dies.
At week 10, Adam Thielen died. Well, it's really hard to run a slant when you have a walker in front of you. Like, it's really hard. You can't really get
you use it like
the angle on
basketball, brother.
They're always reading the walker when he turns, so they know which way he's running now. But I do like Thielen as like a really, really late round target just because of the chemistry with Bryce Young. If he can have any type of start to the season he had last year, you fucking get that guy. I'm not saying, but if his week 1 is trash, cut him. But Deontay Johnson, I think, is really safe. Like, I think he's going to get that Thielen look from last year because he's not 62 years old. I think he's a young, athletic receiver.
Yeah, I think if you read people's Adam Thielen stats, like I think if you just gave them blind numbers, like, hey, whose stats were these last year?
No one would get it. There's
103 receptions, 1,014 yards, 4 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Like,
that's a crazy season, dude.
I low-key like Thielen. He's being drafted at his age, wide receiver 66. He's the 14th round. Like, hey, I'm throwing a flyer at Adam Thielen at the end of the draft. Like, because there is a world where, like, he could end up just being Bryce Young's guy.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, Deontay Johnson loves leaving games. He loves getting hurt, banged up.
Dropping passes.
Yeah, that dude is banged up all the time. He makes, like, every time that dude, like, leaves a game, you're like, oh, devastating injury, he's dead, and then he's back, like, 4 plays later. But, like, he loves not being on the field as much as he is productive. Like,
if you draft Deontay Johnson, you need to silence your phone when he plays. You get so many Deontay Johnson changed from healthy to questionable, questionable to healthy, healthy to out to in. How do you go from out to in, and then he gets hurt again 2 plays later?
Snap.
It's such a bumpy ride, but if he can stay on the field, he's gonna be really productive, dude. Like, so he had it in Pittsburgh that one season where he had those. He needs the catches, and that's kind of not the receiver he is anymore. But if he could somehow get like the Thielen role, but Thielen's still there, Deontay Johnson could be kind of productive. Where is he getting drafted at receiver-wise? Receiver.
So Carolina last year, they were 32nd in passing. I think they're going to be better this year. 20th in rushing.
Giants are better, baby. 31.
Yes, that was the one team you were above.
Big dog shit.
Deontay Johnson's going as wide receiver 37. Thielen's going wide receiver 66. Xavier Legette's going wide receiver 69. Very nice.
I do really like Legette, but he scares the hell out of me this year, dude.
He's hurt too. He's banged up. Mingo's looked all right in preseason. Like, he was a second-round pick, so like.
And the Mingo's whole Legette, the whole thing in college, like it took him all these years to really understand what needed to be done. I'm not gonna say it's gonna take him 4 years like it did in college.
No,
but I don't know how productive he's gonna be this year.
Legette's a guy like, come mid-season, if he's on my waiver wire, I think he's a guy I'm looking at, because like I think he's going to be more involved at the end of the year. Like, I think with Deontay Johnson, we have to accept he's not the 107 catch, 1,100 yard, 8 touchdown guy that he was in Pittsburgh.
That's what we want him to be.
Yeah, I think we need to accept that he's more of what he did last year in Pittsburgh. Was 51 for 717 and 5, which that was in 13 games, so that probably pans out to like 900 yards.
Mm-hmm.
Like 88 for 923 is what he got his second year. I think like that's probably Deontay Johnson's ceiling.
I think he could push 1,000. I really think he could. I'm not saying he's going to, but yeah, that's what I'm saying. It is pushing. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if we look back at the end of the season, like Deontay Johnson has 86 catches for 1,000 yards and fucking 3 touchdowns. He's not going to get the touchdowns.
Yeah,
I'm very interested to see who the touch. That's the thing. Like, who is going to be any bit of a touchdown guy in this team? It has to be Legette, right?
Yeah, he's the only guy that has like big play capabilities from the receiver. Like, I mean, I guess Mingo, but like I'd rather bank on Legette. They spent a first round pick. They traded up for this dude. He's a freak. He looks the part. Like, Dave Canales had DK Metcalf, and like that could be Xavier Legette's role in this offense. Bearing he stayed healthy.
True. He is very fast for his size.
Like, I do find myself leaving a lot of mocks with a Carolina Panther, whether it be Legette or Thielen or one of the running backs, because like they're pretty cheap. Like, running back wise, Jonathan Brooks is being drafted as the first running back, but he's going to start the year on PUP, so he's missing the first 4 games. He's going at the 809, running back 30. Okay, like he provides some upside. Like, if you have an IR spot, draft him, plug him there. I would even draft Chuba Hubbard. If I draft Jonathan Brooks, I'm looking at Chuba Hubbard in the 12th, because I'm getting the guy. Like, Chuba Hubbard was low-key great last year at the end of the year for the Carolina Panthers.
I would say the end of the season, he was really, really productive dude, the end of the season. So, like, with Brooks starting on the IR, Chuba Hubbard's going hella late. He's almost like he's like a 12th round pick?
The end of the 12th.
Yeah.
He's going as RB45.
That's crazy, dude. I'm like you said, like, if you get Brooks and move him to your IR, I'm cool with that. I'm not overly thrilled about it. I had a draft on Monday where I was the reigning champ, defending champ, baby. Gonna shoot that off. I ended up getting Brooks, but I got him 2 rounds past his ADP on Yahoo. Like 2 or 3. He went late on this draft, so I was cool taking the shot. And then you and I were talking on the draft. I was like, I'm trying to get Chuba. And it was like the 13th. It was past his ADP. And then I got sniped the pick or 2 before. I'm like, fuck, we missed out on Chuba. I would have loved to got both of them just to lock down Carolina's backfield all season. Like, even if Brooks comes back and he's not productive, I still have Chuba, and I think he's going to be fine.
Yeah. Like,
he's a lot like Ford from Cleveland. He's also going really late, and Nick Chubb starting on the pup. So it's almost the same situation.
Yeah, like I think Dave Canales is a great coach. I think he's going to be a really good coach. Carolina's organization's a shit show, but I think they hired the right guy. I think he's going to do well. Like, I think Bryce Young is going, like, the step Bryce Young takes this year, I think is going to be huge in his development. Like, I'm not saying he's going to be a top 10 quarterback, but like Bryce Young looked so lost last year. Like, he didn't know what to do. Like, it looked like it was the first time he's ever played football. I think this year, Dave Canales, he's moving him around. They're bringing him weapons. Like, I think low key, Bryce Young's going to be a fine quarterback. I think he's going to be a decent real life quarterback this year. Not so much fancy, but like, hey, if Carolina has a bad matchup, Bryce Young could be a streaming option.
Yeah, he's still decently mobile. Like, he doesn't run, but he can still get out there.
He can escape the pocket.
The only thing that really worries me, dude, is their owner, dude. Like, their owner is insane.
Dave Tepper is a madman. He's like Jerry Jones.
If they start off slow, the coach is already in the hot seat, like right off the bat, just because the owner's insane, which also is not good for Bryce Young at all. Like, get this dude a system he can really learn, and they have it right now. Like, they have a dude who's amazing with quarterbacks. Just keep him for a couple years and see what you have in Bryce Young.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't work, give both of them the boot. It is what it is. But give the kid a chance. Like, let the kid fight for the spot.
Yeah.
Goddamn.
Bryce Young will never amount to anything if you're changing his coaches every year.
100%.
Yep.
And nothing against like I like Danny Jones. Back to the NFC East real quick, but we constantly switch coaches, offensive coordinators. We had Gable. His 2 seasons ago, we made the playoffs with him. Like, get the guy a coach that knows what he's doing, and you did it in Carolina. Just keep the coach with the quarterback, and if both fail, both go.
Yeah,
just keep them together.
Yeah. But like, hey, I think Carolina's better than people. They're the laughing stock of the league, but
they're going to win like 5 games, dude. They're going to be way more competitive than they were last year. They're going to be
competitive. Yeah, they got a decent defense. I do find myself wanting a piece of the offense, like finding the guy, whether it be Chuba or Johnny Brooks or one of the receivers. Not so much tight end room. Tommy Tremble, Jatavian Sanders. I'm good. Ian Thomas.
Did Jordan Matthews make the team?
Did Jordan Matthews make the team? Not that I'm aware of.
I know he was running with the ones in preseason, and he had like a touchdown in one game. Like, he looked decent, which is insane.
No, Jordan Matthews got cut 4 hours ago.
That's a shame, dude. That would have been a crazy story.
Yeah. Jordan
Matthews could end up being
yeah.
this team's tight end 1 on the season.
Yeah, that would have been cool. But yeah, Carolina, I think they're going to be better than people think. I don't think they're going to finish in last place, obviously, by my Saints prediction. But let's do it. Run the division. What do you think?
Atlanta, Tampa Bay, Carolina, New Orleans.
Tampa Bay, Atlanta, Carolina, New Orleans. I think the Bucs repeat. Obviously, I said the Falcons. What a swerve would have been if I said the Falcons have a losing record and then I put them out first.
This would be I think they've done that this division, right? New Orleans won the division a couple years ago, like 7-9 or some shit like that.
But yeah, there it is. I got the Bucs winning. Falcons at 2, Carolina at 3, New Orleans last. Get out of here. They can draft a quarterback first overall.
Draft a head coach. The fuck we talking about?
Yeah. Draft a head coach.
But yeah, I think Atlanta, Tampa Bay are the real 2 teams competing for the top dog in this division, I think. And then I think Carolina does make the step above New Orleans. New Orleans is a really bad coach team with just bad quarterback play, weak weapons. So we'll see. I'll take the upside in Carolina, though, for sure.
Dave Canales, though, Panthers coach. He's an interesting cat. Have you heard about like the book he co-wrote? Like he was incredibly unfaithful. Like, and he was like a binge drinker, and he was addicted to porn. Like, he had a porn addiction. Yeah. He was always cheating on his wife. He just constantly was drinking. Like,
well, I think his wife made him write the book. I think.
Yeah, they like wrote it together. Yeah, and then he found God, and hey, good for him. He like turned his life around, and
for sure. Whatever you need to do to turn your life around, and now he's out here head coach, baby.
Head coach, and I hope it works out. I think if given the chance, he's going to turn Bryce Young around. Like he's the right guy in my eyes for Bryce Young.
I mean, we at least know he's a really good coordinator. Like, so if he fails as a head coach, God forbid, he still at the end of the day has his coordinator ability. Someone will hire him. He's elite with quarterbacks.
Yeah. Yeah.
So at some point he'll be an offense coordinator again if he does fail, which I think he'll be fine.
Yeah. I'm interested in seeing how he does with Bryce Young because, like I said, he turned Geno around. He did wonders for Baker last year.
Yeah.
So maybe people are banking too much on that, but we'll see. We'll see. I'm low key excited to see Carolina's future with Dave Canales.
Carolina's going to be interesting to watch play out very early in the season to see how they look. Like, I don't think they're going to win too many games, but I think they're going to be pretty competitive.
I didn't give a bold prediction for the Panthers. Chuba Hubbard.
Yeah.
Will break.
What you got?
Oh no! What's the Panthers' rushing record?
Yeah, right, dude. They had fucking D'Angelo Williams.
D'Angelo Williams, yeah.
It's gonna be 1,600 yards.
I don't want career. I want season. 1,515.
There's no way. Chuba Hubbard finishes as an RB2. Just take that as a bold prediction.
Yeah. I'll say they have an RB2 and a wide receiver 2. There you go. Whether it be Deontay, Adam, or Leggett.
They have a tight end in the top 40. There's a bold prediction.
I was going to say Adam Thielen gets another 100 catches again.
Oh, hot take.
Gets his age in catches, 100. Yeah. All right, guys, that's it. NFC South in the books. We got one more division left. The NFC West. It's a good one. So we'll end it off. And then we're going to do a mock draft.
Yes, sir.
And that'll be the final mock draft before the season.
'Tis the season.
We're approaching 1 week. Well, probably when I post this podcast, it will be 1 week till the season.
Probably
pre-recorded.
Pre-recorded. Football. We have our draft coming up soon. Or this weekend. Ziffle draft, weekend. Baby.
Yeah.
I get the precious.
You get the belt, and you can put it on the podcast.
Oh, I plan on it. Don't you worry about it.
All right, guys. NFC South in the books. NFC West up next as we finish our divisional breakdowns. Drafted Up Podcast. As always, follow us over on Twitter. If that's your thing, at @draftedup_pod. Like, rate, subscribe, review on Apple, YouTube, Spotify, wherever you listen or watch the show. Tell a friend. Word of mouth. We always appreciate it. Thank you guys, as always, for listening to the Drafted Up Podcast. Adios.
Oh, yeah. Bye.